Today I am reviewing one of my favorite films of all time, and I have to say my favorite film is The World's Greatest Dad, which I have to say Robin Williams took a different style than he does with his other films. I've watched a lot of his films, which I grew up on Jumanji, which I love. It's better than the remakes that came out later, but Jumanji was a great film. I didn't really care for Jack. I love Mrs. Doubtfire. I love it. There's like there's some things you can say could have been better, or they couldn't have mm, had Mr. Robin Williams be a creepy man in a in an old lady's costume. But other than that, the film is still like really good. Then I watched RV, and I do have to say that one was like a movie that I would deem it horrible. I didn't really care for RV as much as like I do for Mrs. Doubtfire and this film, The World's Greatest Dad. So Robin Williams, which plays Lance Clayton, is a failed writer. At the beginning of the film, he discusses that he wishes he could be like a successful writer, be a millionaire, and have all the women of the world, and have like he wins the jackpot, and everything just falls onto his laps like nothing. But he never becomes successful. And then he has a kid, which is played by Daryl Sabara, which is the guy that was in Spy Kids, and he was also in Rob Zombie's Halloween. And I have to say, this kid, this kid plays a horrible character. A he plays Kyle, which I have to say, Kyle is a piece of crap throughout the film. I just know, like from what we watch in the film, we know that Lance Clayton is a great father. He wants to have a good conversation, wants to interact with his kid, wants to like be a part of his life. But Kyle is a type of dude or a type of kid that is a social he's awkward socially. He's an outcast. He's a person that doesn't like music, doesn't like watching TV, doesn't like interacting with anybody. He only has his friend, which is Andrew, and Andrew's a kid that I would say I would say he does he does stick around for Kyle, even though Kyle treats him like straight up dumpster fire. He treats him like garbage, but Andrew still sticks with him and says, "Look, why can't you be a normal human being? Why can't you be like everyone else? You're just a person that hates music, that doesn't want to interact with your father, doesn't want to watch movies, doesn't even want to have friends. You just want to get on your computer and watch adult content." That's the only thing that Kyle does. And Kyle's a creepy dude because he's a person that starts taking pictures of the girlfriend of Robin Williams, because Robin Williams is a teacher also. Robin Williams is a teacher, and I think he does. I think the only thing that I know based on the film is that he is only a poetry teacher, and he's dating another teacher in that same school. As you guys can see in the back, this is him, and this is the person he's dating, and he has to hide it from the rest of the students in the school. And then there's some other guy. Um, I'm not even sure what's his name. There's this dude right here. If you guys can see it, this guy. I'm not even sure what's his name because he's not that important to the film. Um, but whatever her name is, she is the one that actually like hangs around with this dude a lot. And Robin Williams is a little bit like, do you like this guy? Do you like being with him more than you like me? And then they both talk about it and they're like, nope, is I like you. You're I this is who I'm in love with. I'm not in love with him. I'm in love with you, Lance. And they have to hide it. So, like I said, Kyle is aware of him dating the teacher or another teacher at school, and they go out to dinner. Robin Williams and like these two go out to dinner and they bring Kyle and they ask him, look, do you like movies? Do you like TV? Or what's your favorite content? And like I said, throughout the film, like I said, this kid is a piece of garbage that only likes to watch adult content. Then he also spies on an old lady from his bedroom and starts watching her undress and stuff like that, which is like weird and nasty for Kyle. And like I said, Kyle is a person also that likes to get in trouble in school. First of all, he's a Kyle, if you can see him right here, Kyle. He's the guy that likes to get in trouble with school, likes to say all kinds of like demeaning things to women, like nasty stuff I cannot say here, but he's nasty throughout the film, and people just want to get rid of him, and they see him as like a disaster, while Kyle's father, Lance, is just trying to be a guy that loves his son and tries to make him feel better and tries to make him feel like he's loved. But Kyle, like I said, is a piece of crap that just destroys everything. He says, look, it's garbage. And during the middle of the film, we get to see that Kyle passes away, or yeah, he passes away because he's watching adult content while like putting like a rope or like a lasso around his neck or something while watching the adult content, and somehow he passes away. He suffocates himself or something, and Kyle's father has to go around and just like pretend like his son had an accident, or he died he passed away because of some sort of like thing, like something happened to him, and it was an accident, and he doesn't want to look like Lance doesn't want to look like an idiot because his son was watching adult content, and that's how he passed away, because he was doing stuff he wasn't supposed to do. But like I said, when he passes away, Lance decides to write stories and try to make him into some great kid when he wasn't really a great kid, but they still want to make him like a great kid. They want to make him seem like, oh my gosh, this guy was misunderstood. This guy was he had issues with his life, and all he wanted to do was write poetry, and Robin Williams just makes stuff up. And when people start to ask him, look, what else did Kyle do? What else was in Kyle's life? And then that's when Robin Williams or Lance Clayton decides, oh my gosh, I'm going to make stories up, make things up, and make myself the writer that I am, and make myself famous, and make up stories about this kid so we can make him seem like he's better than what he really was, because like we all know, he was a piece of crap. But Robin Williams wants to make him seem like immortal, or seem like he was misunderstood and people should have given him a chance. People should have made him feel like he was more than he portrayed himself to be, which is, in my opinion, like, yeah, you want your kid. If I had a kid or something, and things were going that route, I would have wanted to like say, look, the kid was this, the kid was that, and make stuff up. But Robin Williams goes with the story. But the only person that knows that Lance Clayton is a liar is Andrew, which is Kyle's friend. Kyle's friend, because Kyle doesn't see him as a friend, like I mentioned throughout this, that Kyle sees him as just someone he can take advantage of and use him as a tool and so forth. But like I said, after that, Lance just starts making up stories and starts making things up to get the students and to get the whole world to fall for him and say, "Look, you're a great guy. Everything you're saying is great. Everything that your son wrote in these notebooks and these papers and these books is all great." But then he starts to go on national TV or on live TV with like in a format that looks like Oprah, the Oprah Winfrey Show, or like the Ellen DeGeneres Show, or some other talk show, and he ends up saying, "Look, I wrote so much stuff," and he's like feeling like guilty, or he's more of like feeling like I've duped the whole world into thinking that my son was a lovable kid, because Robin Williams just made stuff up and say, "Look, my kid loves um, Bruce Hornsby. My son loves poetry. My son loves this and that," and everybody says, "Oh, I love Lance. Oh no, not Lance. I love Kyle." And they do love Lance at the same time, so that's why I said Lance. They love Lance and Kyle, and they say, "Oh my gosh, everything is great. Give me more information about this kid." But like I said, Lance has been fooling everyone, and when he got on live TV, he couldn't even handle the guilt, or like this thing that he has in his heart that says, "Look, it's all a joke. It's all fallacy. How can you eat this up, man?" And then he's like, in his mind, that's how I see it in his mind, that he says, "How could you fall for this? How could you say that this guy was like a hero? He's a piece of garbage, and everybody saw him as garbage. How is it that everyone fell for my writings and my poetry, and now you're saying that you love Kyle?" And then when he's, like I said, when he's on live TV, he starts to have a nervous breakdown. He starts laughing, and after that he goes back to school, and he has to give out a speech, or they're trying to honor Kyle as like a great kid, even though in the beginning of the film we all saw that he was trash. He was a complete outcast, a complete dumpster fire. But at the end, Kyle's father goes up on stage and tries to, like, everybody's talking great about this kid, and so is Robin Williams at the beginning of like the speech. But then he's like, "Wait a minute." In his mind, he's probably like, "Wait a minute, I have to tell the truth and say, look, everything that happened was everything that happened was me making things up. I wrote the stories. I made everything up. I fooled you guys into believing that he was a great kid. I'm the guy that fooled you. I'm the one that screwed everything up. I'm the one that made you believe in something that he was not." And that's where everybody turns on him and says, "You're a..." Everybody turns on him and looks at him with distrust, says the F words, and even his girlfriend slaps him in the face and says, "Look, it's over. It's over. All of this is down in the drain." And Robin Williams just leaves, and you hear a David Bowie song, "Under Pressure," and Robin Williams takes off his clothes and jumps into the pool, and he feels like a great man because he went and he went and just made things. Um, he freed himself. He just feels like a free man. He feels like a free man because he just told everybody the truth. He told them that his kid and everything else wasn't good. He just came out and said, "Look, this is the truth about my son and everything, and this is how he passed away because he was in his room watching adult content and everything else." But at the end, Andrew comes to him and said, "Look, I know you wrote these stories. I knew it from the beginning that Kyle never did any of these things that you put in these books and in these stories and in these writings." And then the movie ends with like um the old lady that Kyle was supposedly looking at through his window, and Andrew and Lance Clayton just sit and watches the movie. Um, I think Night of the Living Dead or Day of the Living Dead, something like that. He watches a movie like that, and that's when the movie ends. And I do have to say, like, this is one of my favorite films of all time. This is definitely one of my favorite films of all time. So I do have to say that that's how I'm ending it, as one of my top favorite films ever created from Robin Williams, or he starred in. Like, there's no other film out there. I cannot say that um, Old Dog with John Travolta and Robin Williams was incredible. Now this hits different from everything else he ever did. So that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in another video.